everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Tracy with JDL Threads. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is not your first time here, welcome back. So in today's video, what I'm going to be showing you, what I've been up to is practicing making these patches out of using the 4mm plastic so I can get kind of a great seam outline around the patches. So here's my practice patch that I'm going to be doing. It's the Teach, Love, and Inspire apple patch that we're going to be making today. And let me show you how I was able to do that. So the supplies that we're going to need is I'm going to be using my mighty hoop, my 6.25 by my 8.25 mighty hoop. I am going to be using a little pair of scissors so that I can cut out my design before I place it on my plastic. I'm going to be using some spray adhesive that I picked up a long time ago from Joann's. I'm going to be using a piece of red felt, also a piece of cutaway stabilizer, and a piece of 4mm plastic that I picked up from Menards. So first things first, let's go ahead and get this set up so that we can get it embroidered out on our RICOMA MT1501 embroidery machine. So come on over to the craft table and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, everybody, and just like we always do, we are going to be using our mighty hoop, and we're going to turn the bottom part of our mighty hoop down so that the warning sign is up. We are going to place our cutaway stabilizer in our embroidery hoop. We are also going to put our felt inside of our embroidery hoop, and then we are going to put the top of our embroidery hoop on the bottom part of our embroidery hoop, just like so. Let me show you that one more time. Wasn't sure if I was in the camera there. All right, so we are going to place the bottom part of our hoop down. We are going to put our cutaway stabilizer on top of that bottom hoop. We are also going to put our felt on top of our cutaway stabilizer. And then we are just going to put the top of our hoop on our mighty hoop, just like so. And just like that, we are ready to go. Now we're going to save our 4mm plastic for later once we go ahead and get our placement stitch down. And we'll put our plastic in our hoop at that point so we can do our tag down stitch once we get ready to tag down our apple design. So come on over, head over to the RICOMA MT1501 embroidery machine with me, and let's go ahead and get this loaded in so we can get it stitched out. Okay, everybody, we are over at our embroidery machine. So all we need to do is we need to just go ahead and put our embroidery hoop into our embroidery machine. My design is already set up to be stitched out. So all I need to do is do what, everybody? The most important step is I need to go ahead and do my trace to make sure that my design is not going to hit my embroidery hoop, and then we will be ready to start our design. So let's go ahead and get our trace done, everybody. Here we go. Entering into the embroidery status. And I think I'm just going to push it over just a little bit, everybody, and then we're going to do another trace. A little bit more, I think, and one more trace. And that looks pretty good to me. So now let's go ahead and do our slow trace to see where that's going to land. All right, everybody, and just like that, we're ready to go. So we have all our colors entered into our embroidery panel, and let's go ahead and get that start button and get our design stitched out. Here we go. actually, guys, I'm going to stop it right here because it seems I have my colors backwards. I want the top of that apple leaf to be green and not red. So let me go ahead and put that in. I just got the colors switched up there. So let me go ahead and make that a different color. And we'll just transfer that over to green. That color should be brown. I don't know why my numbers are off, you guys, but it is. So we're going to make that one brown. We're going to cut this one off. Change that over to brown. All right, so now my machine should frame out. And I am going to go ahead. I'm going to take my design over to the cutting station. And I'm going to go ahead and get everything cut out around here so that we can put our plastic around our hoop. And we can get ready to do our tag down stitch. And then we'll do our satin stitch border. And then I'll show you guys what it looks like once it's all completed. So give me a second. Let me go ahead and get that cut out. Okay, everybody, I am back. And as you can see now, I have gotten my apple cut out around my placement stitch line. So I have also got my 4mm plastic installed into my mighty hoop, and we're going to make sure to pull it taut so it's like a drum. And we are going to put that back into our embroidery machine, our mighty hoop, and we are going to frame it back in. So that we can go ahead and get our placement stitch put down one more time, so we know where to put down our apple, and then we can go ahead and get our tag down stitch done. So let's go ahead and get our another placement stitch down. Here we go, you guys. All right, and as you can see, that framed out one more time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take some of my spray adhesive, and I'm just going to spray a little bit on the back so that we can make sure that our embroidery design doesn't move when we go to tack it down. We're going to place it right on top of our placement stitch. That looks pretty good. And we are going to frame our hoop back in so that we can get our tag down stitch done around our apple, and then we can continue on with our satin stitch. So here we go, you guys. And I'm just going to stop it just for a second because it looks like that I still didn't get close enough to that line there, and I don't want all that red felt fabric to be sticking out. So I'm just going to take my little small scissors. I'm just going to do a little bit more trimming here. I'm going to cut this embroidery thread off. I'm going to frame it out. Do just a little bit more trimming around there so that we can make sure that we have everything underneath that black satin stitch, you guys. I don't want any red showing. And you want to just try it. If you have to pull it out and recut, try not to cut your plastic. It's okay if you do, but just try your best just to only cut the fabric and not the plastic, everybody. And I think I'm just going to trim just a little bit down here on the bottom of the apple as well. Want to make sure I just get everything all covered and we don't have any of that felt sticking out. All right, so there you go. You can see all my little trims there and here at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put my hoop back into the embroidery machine, frame it back in, and we're just going to continue on. Let me make sure I have enough thread down there at the bottom. Here we go. I'm just going to stop it one more time, you guys, because it looks like I could just still really get a little bit closer over here on this other side. I know, right? Decisions, decisions, decisions. But I want as much of that fabric inside as I can possibly get it in there. All right, and that looks much better to me. So let's go ahead and put our hoop back in. And we will continue on to do our satin stitch around our apple. I'm going to back it up a few times. Hit my button at the top, my green button to turn it red to make it go into float mode, so we can do a few more back stitches here where it ended before, and then we'll continue on. Here we go. Whoops, and it looks like my thread was not long enough when I cut it off, so let me go ahead and just re-thread this needle. All right, needle is rethreaded. I'm going to back stitch a few more times to go back to float mode, turn my green light to red, and here we go. All right, you guys, and it looks like my coverage was a little bit too tight going around, starting with this part of the apple, because you do see some of the bobbin thread coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and back stitch it back to that point. I have rethreaded my black thread, and we're just going to restitch on top of that stitch to give it a little bit more coverage. All right, and that looks like a good spot, so I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to hit my light at the top, my green light, to make it turn red for float mode, to restitch over those stitches, and we're going to press start. All right, everybody, and with that, the design is done. So let me go ahead and get it out of the embroidery machine, and I will show you what that looks like. Okay, everybody, so this part of the design is finished. Now here is the results. Oh my goodness. All right, so we have stitched our satin stitch around our patch, and what needs to happen now is that it should just, look at that, it should just pop right out, right? That's the beauty of using the plastic, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off this little thread here where it didn't cut. Trim off some of this bobbin thread on the back. And that looks pretty good, you guys. Now, what I've seen on other channels is, see this plastic here that we have on the back? We have to go ahead and take that off. And as you guys can see, remember I told you about tension, tension, tension? It looks like I still need to turn my bobbin tension down because I have too much bobbin coming through on the white. So I need to turn that down a little bit so that there is less bobbin on the bottom of those stitches. So all we're doing is we're pulling off the plastic off of the back. And wouldn't you know it, even though I thought I got very close to that line where some of that red wouldn't show, some of it is still popping out. But that's okay, because what we are going to do is what I've seen some other people on other channels do is take a heat gun or a lighter, and we're just going to go around and we're going to burn those threads right off, you guys. So let me just back it up a little bit from my embroidery machine because I do not want to catch anything on fire over there. And all we're going to do is I'm just going to use this little lighter and I'm going to go around and just burn those off. I think what I'm going to do before I do that though is I'm going to try to just get it a little bit closer. No, I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm just going to go ahead and burn those threads on the side like so. As you can see, it did melt in some of that red fabric, some of that felt that was sticking out. Let's see if it'll catch all these on this side. Yeah, it looks like it's catching it pretty good, you guys. But you remember, don't leave that fire in one spot too long because you don't want to burn your threads. Okay? And that looked like pretty good. It melted that in pretty good, you guys. Yeah, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. So now, as you can see, there is our finished result of our Teach, Love, and Inspire patch. That is our finished one, and this one was our temporary practice patch. And as you can see, I did change the colors up a little bit on that apple to add in a little bit more green. And that is the beauty of embroidery. You can make it whatever colors you want, change it to whatever you want. You don't have to go by any colors that were first put in the design when you first entered it into your design software. All right, everybody. So once again, practice patch, finished patch. So nice. Now you can choose to go ahead and either stitch that on your garment, or you can put the double-sided heat and bond on the back of the patch, and so you can go ahead and just iron that on if you choose to do so. All right. So again, practice patch, permanent patch. And I think I did a pretty good job for my first couple of times using this plastic. What do you guys think? All right. So this is again Tracy with JDL Threads, and I want to thank you guys for joining me in today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Have a good one. Keep on stitching, everybody. Keep on crafting. Bye.